for roofer to roofer, there's a Q&A. So for everyone watching, if you have questions, put it in the Q&A at the bottom. We're tackling anything to do with the roofing business. We try to avoid going too deep on just ProLine itself. This is more about roofing than it is about ProLine specifically, but we can certainly still touch on ProLine. And if there's no questions in the Q&A inside of Zoom, then we will just go through our pre-prepared questions that we've been collecting. So I'm gonna work on getting one of those together, and yeah. So if anyone has any questions, just put it in that Q&A at the bottom of Zoom. Where are you at right now, Scott? Oh, is this your office?
Well, I had to come down to my basement because we use the T-Mobile devices for internet. They're
Yeah.
fantastic because they're just mobile. You unplug them, you plug them in, you got Wi-Fi as long as there's cell signal. Well, we left our one, we have two, and we left our one in the RV. So we got Wi-Fi in the RV, but I don't have Wi-Fi in my building. So I had to come down to the basement.
Make it work. Yeah, I think you use that as an office sometimes too, though, right?
Yeah. Hey, I think we are having some issues getting people in because I just got a text from somebody that has the same thing I had that says the host will let you in soon. Roofer to roofer is reoccurring, waiting for the host to start the meeting.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Maybe tell them to just leave and try to come back.
Yep. I told him. Jack got in.
Yeah, Jack made it. What I have a question lined up, but do you know if Jonah's gonna make it?
Well, I don't think he can get in either. I'm
Oh,
still
really?
waiting for the meeting to start. Yeah, everybody's getting this
That's odd.
saying you haven't started it.
I definitely started it.
Is there a way you can let people in or something?
I don't have any notification of anyone coming in. Ooh, I wonder if the link in the email was bad.
The link in the email goes to a roofer to roofer reoccurring meeting. That's the one I used, and that's where I was sitting waiting for you too.
Huh. Let's see. Or let me do it from my phone. I'm gonna try to join as an attendee from my phone and see if it works from the email.
Okay.
Maybe Jack can shed some light. Jack, you there?
Yeah, hey guys.
How's it going?
Great. How are you?
Good. Did you join from the email, or did you um
I honestly can't tell you. I had a notification pop up and I think it was from my Outlook, which would have been perhaps from the email.
hmm, maybe. I guess that could have been just an event. Let me see. Join Zoom. Oh. Yeah, I just got it when I tried to join from the there must be something wrong with the link.
Yeah, Jonah said he tried the email link. That's why he's not in. Wasn't my technical difficulty, I guess.
Yeah,
Usually that's the case.
well, let me work on that. Jack, did you have any questions to maybe you and Scott can chat?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, sure. Hey Scott, it's been a bit. Um, Last time we spoke, you were convincing me to go with ProLine, and I made the decision to go with ProLine. So it's been
Gotcha.
good. So yeah, I don't necessarily have a question, but I was just kind of thinking on my toes here. So the last several days we've had we've had an individual, a homeowner, come to us looking for a new roof, a concrete tile roof, and he's a retired business person, and I think probably a little bored in his retirement with all the golf that he plays, and so he's taken it upon himself to try to wrangle together up to 15 neighbors in his immediate community, all of whom had houses that were built in the same vintage and need re-roofs. And so he's coming to us saying, hey, if I can bring you 4 roofs, 6 roofs, 10 roofs plus, what kind of discount can you give us? So I think, as I've told you and AJ in our couple of conversations, I'm new to the space, and the company that I acquired doesn't have terribly sophisticated pricing. So I've kind of like started from ground zero to build things up the way I think they should be. But do you have any tips or strategies on how to approach opportunities like that, both in terms of how you think about margin and percentage margin versus absolute dollars across a series of projects, and then also just sales tactics to deal with analytical maximizers like this who are trying to squeak every penny out of a deal they can?
Yeah, for sure. So actually, I've got a pretty good little piece of insight on that. The way I would treat it and the way we treat it is as if it's a like a referral. So what if we pay for a referral like $200 or $250 for a referral, we would pay him that. So if you're going to bring 3 people in, we'll pay you $250 for each job you bring. You bring 10, we still $250 for each job. The reason I say I like to look at it that way is because of what you said, is because of margin. If you give him 5% off, well then his, you could make the argument that it may equal the same if you did the math. I'm not doing the math, but I'm applying that $250 to the cost of acquiring the neighbor's job, not a discount per se on his job. So my margins, I can maintain my margins by doing so, if that makes sense. So in theory, I may even mark up the neighbor's jobs $200 or $250 to make up that margin. Maybe not. I mean, depends on how bad I want the job, right? Like there's obviously that factor too. It's, how bad do you want it? How bad do you need it? But I want to apply that. I want to apply the discount to the job that he's given me, because someone's got to eat that cost. And I would think in that manner it would work well. I know some people say, well, if I give him 10% off, blah 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 blah. Well, yeah, okay. What if it's a $50,000 roof? That's $5,000. Like, does he really deserve to get $5,000 off? Or you know what I mean? So I don't know what the exact numbers are you're dealing with, but I like looking at it from an aspect of a referral and paying him for that referral, and doing it that way. That's how I would do it.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, are they pretty concrete tile jobs? I'm sure they've got to be a pretty high ticket item.
Yeah, these are like our list price on this deal is I think 78,000 that we put out at them. But our problem, we've got a couple of challenges. I mean, we have a competitive roofer in the space who is quite comparable in terms of the quality of the materials and systems and installation, but he runs a labor model that I think is it's like quasi illegal in terms of how he pays his guys, and so he has serious cost advantages on his labor costs. And so when we bump up against this guy in customers' homes, we're always 10K higher. So like that's one issue that we're dealing with this particular customer and the portfolio of buyers he's trying to put together. The other issue is we don't have a marketing expense right now in our budget. We do zero marketing, so I don't really have like a marketing budget that I can pull from to kind of offer that to him in terms of a discount. But I think your advice is sound. It's helpful because at some point we're hoping to open up a marketing budget.
Sure. Well, Yeah, and you're going, at some point you'll have to if you want to have growth, I think. But I also think you're to your point of your competition there, dude, it's awful. It's everywhere. Um and every coach or whatever will tell you, well, you got to show the value that you provide that's better than that guy. That
Right.
that's literally what every coach is going to tell you. Good freaking luck. I mean, what's 10
Yeah.
grand worth to you? Because
Right.
I know, to me, 10 grand, you better, I mean, unless you're going to spackle it in gold plate, I'm not seeing the value. If $10,000 is a lot of money.
Right.
Now you and I know that in the roofing business that he may spend twice as much to get the same product, hiring a shoddy contractor, but they're willing to take that chance for that kind of savings.
Yeah.
I think, if you can get as competitive as you can, obviously, but I think that you've got to explain to the guy, you like, here's what I'm bidding against, know what you're hiring. It's, I don't, maybe this is dirty of me. I don't really care. I'm not as much worried about showing the value in myself. I've at this point, in the sales process, I've already shown the value. Like, that, well, where
Yeah.
we sit on Google, you see all the Facebook mentions and reviews. Your neighbors have used us. The guy down the street used us.
Yeah.
The value's there. You already know that.
Yeah.
Here's why you shouldn't hire this guy, because he's not a good guy. He's not a good contractor.
Yeah.
Some people want to like raise above that. Well, that's bullshit. Like, if that guy's not playing by the same set of rules
Yeah.
everybody else is playing by, then screw that. I would, hey, this guy's not if you want hiring, understand here's what you're going to get. So
Right.
that's what I
Right.
would do.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not a business coach, so I'm not going to tell you to try to show him the value, because that's not a real tip.
Right. Right. Okay.
AJ, you having any luck over there? You're muted.
We got to figure it out. We're sending out an email
Cool.
with a updated link. So
Jack, I'm sorry, are you the fellow? Did you buy a business in Florida?
Yeah, that's me.
Gotcha. Well, them Florida guys, I heard they're like tough as hell to deal with. Like, the laws down there are unbelievable.
Which laws? The
I don't
employment
know. I
laws?
just heard that it's hard to go be a roofing company in Florida. That's what I've heard.
Well, I guess I can confirm that my first 5.5 months in the trenches, it hadn't been easy, but I think that's partially because I'm new to the space and learning a lot every day and trying to gain the trust of a team and fix a whole bunch of problems all at the same time. So yeah, I mean, it's an interesting space. I'll say that I was interested in the Florida market because of all the pressure on the real estate market. It's not really slowing down. We're in a really niche market where we service the Barrier Island on the East Coast. So we got a lot of second, third, and fourth homeowners with deep pockets and high standards for quality. At that end of the market, it's a very limited competitive set. We've got like about 3 guys that we go up against in our 15-mile radius, which is obviously a really, really small geography. And for the last, I don't know, 10 years, I think the business has succeeded in kind of staying at the top of the quality spectrum, quality price spectrum. But in the last, I would say, 2 years, there's been a lot of pressure from this whole subcontracting thing. And like I said, I think quite a bit of cheating when it comes to labor management, workers' compensation, unemployment, cash payments. And so I've finally gotten to the point, like in my research, where I've figured out the math, where I think how these guys are getting to the numbers they're getting to. And I think it basically boils down to labor. And so I'm just trying to figure out, how I can compete against these guys in the better market, better and best market, without cheating too. So.
Well, good for you. I mean, right now too, I think what you'll find, I mean, at least what I'm really got my sights set on is getting through this next year, year and a half, 2 years, whatever it is. Cause I don't know what you're seeing in your economy and how things are going, but I know where we're at, and a lot of guys are struggling right now as far as lead volume and things like that.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to just grind it out, and I know we're dealing with the same thing. Guys coming in and come, but pricing it next to nothing, giving it away, doing things that aren't right, shady shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping to kind of stick to my guns to where in the next 2 years, these guys, you can't swallow that pill for long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't,
Yep.
us guys that have kind of a little bit higher quality of standard and a little bit better business built, hopefully we can
Mm-hmm.
just outlast them. And then once we've outlasted them, then they go away, so
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
hopefully that works for you.
I was just curious, have you seen any data on the number of roofing contractors, whether that's increased or decreased in the last 3 to 5 years? Have you seen any hard data
That's
on
got
that?
to be an AJ question.
Oh, on number of roofers?
Yeah. Like I think
Something.
there's an assumption that there are just more people, more companies out there, more licenses
Yeah.
out there than there were like last year. That's kind of my sense, but I've never seen any data on that, so I'd be curious to know if anybody's looked at that.
I don't know about this year, but when we have done market research, and definitely it has been trending up, but I think it trended up really heavily like 2022 and 2023. I don't think it's trending up anymore though. I think
Okay.
we've kind of reached the top. That's been my um based on what I've seen, but I don't have conclusive numbers on like
Yeah.
the last 8 months. Um, so
Okay.
I think but I do know up until kind of beginning of 2023, it was trending up, but it was starting to flatten out. Because the big bump was during and after COVID.
Yeah.
Because everyone wanted to be an essential business, so a lot of people switched. They're like, oh,
Mm.
my other business is non-essential, but I can switch and I can be a roofer. And so there
Okay.
was a huge pop, and then a lot of people were making money, so it kind of spread.
Yeah.
There
I
was
see.
big pop, but it has kind of I think hit a top based on what I was seeing. But that's just as of basically end of 2023. So, all right, Jack, I'm gonna put you back
Yep.
in the audience.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And we'll keep on going. All right, so getting back to normal programming here. So appreciate everyone's patience. We did have some difficulties with the link, but we've just been chatting, and we're gonna jump back into normal questions now. So James did put in here. He said that our lead volume is up this year by 25%, which is awesome. Congratulations on that. That's huge.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah, that's huge. Not a lot of guys are not seeing that. In fact, they're seeing the opposite of that. So that's really, really big. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into some of our pre-prepared questions. If you guys have any questions for us, please do put that in the Q&A, and we'll stop and answer those. But we'll move through our prepared questions. First question here. Oh, I had it pulled up and then I lost it. All right. How can I use our warranties as a selling point in the sales process for roofing?
I mean, that's like one of our main sales points, right? So you got price, quality of material, warranty, and service. I can't think of anything else that you know generates a sale. Um, can you? I mean, is there anything else that really generates a sale? So, it's what it costs to get there, what's getting put on, how it gets put on, and what they're left with when you're done. So, yeah, I mean, warranties 25% of a sale essentially. So, I know there's a lot of people that don't give a shit about warranty. There's plenty of those people. I am one of those people. I don't ever buy the warranty. I never, but I sell it like crazy. But I also trust the warranty that I'm selling. So I don't typically buy warranties because I'm not really buying roofs. I'm buying cars or something like that, and I don't trust the warranty company that I'm buying from. But as a contractor that sells warranties and is a contractor that maintains warranties for the manufacturer, I know that they stand behind their product, and when the warranty is sold, they actually take care of that issue. So I'm very confident in selling it because I do know that it's upheld. So yeah, I think you gotta sell warranties. It's got to be built into your business somehow. If you're not a certified contractor with one of the big names, go get certified. It's not hard. Like at least entry level, you can, like Owens Corning, you can be a OC certified. I think GAF's maybe cert. I can't remember. They've all got a name, but there's an entry level for every one of the manufacturers. Just go get with your ABC or Beacon rep, and they'll get you in. You can start offering some level of warranty. Maybe it's not the best, but it's something.
Yeah. What's the at what point in the process should the conversation about the warranty enter in? Or should be right on the front in the marketing? Do you guys use it in your marketing, like outbound marketing to attract leads? Do you use talking about the warranties, or like when does it come into play?
Oh no, hell, it's in our advertising. Our advertising talks about the warranties, but in the actual sales process, not in the lead process, in the sales process, the list that I just named, I think you work it backwards. So the way a sales, purchase goes is price, service, quality of materials, and then warranty. I think the way you sell a job is the exact opposite. So you sell on warranty, quality of material, service, and then price. So you list out all these other things that you're going to provide, and then price is the last thing you give them.
Get into the sales. Any perspective on that, Jonah, on the marketing front? I mean, you're the one on the front with the marketing for Rain Stoppers.
So if you look at the messages that people send us, whether it's social or through ProLine, nobody really brings up the warranty. I'm sure during the sale that comes up, but it seems pretty standard, especially if you're a bigger contractor and you've sold enough warranties that you're Master Elite or whatever Owen Corning's
Platinum Preferred.
Platinum Preferred, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's pretty standard across the board, but as a homeowner, like it's definitely a value prop, and we put it on pretty much everything we say. So, I believe it's even on our billboards, at least putting Master Elite on our advertisements. It shows that we can offer that warranty and that that you're not a storm chaser. You're not just going to pop up here, replace your roof, and then dip out.
Important.
It is a value prop.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, for everyone, a few other people have joined. So, if you have questions, put it in the Q&A at the bottom of Zoom. Throw that in there. We're happy to stop and tackle any question that you have. Otherwise, we're just going to be going through our pre-prepared questions. I do see a question pop in here. So, this question is, this is from Jack. I'm not sure the question. It just said, thoughts on metal and tile warranties where there's no manufacturer behind the labor and workmanship. I guess, yeah. So where it's just the installer and it's the competitor's word against yours. So there's no like manufacturer to go to for that certification. In that situation, how can warranties come into play?
So actually, I was just having a conversation with somebody, a company in Texas, and a female-owned roofing business, and she had some fantastic thoughts, and we actually we had some good ideas, but just to this point was, instead of even fooling with all these manufacturer warranties and paying for them, why not, if you're big enough, I'm talking even shingles, take the warranty into your own hands and just say, hey, we're going to put that warranty on that through our business. Now, with metal, we deal with the same thing. Metal warrant, it's 40-year paint warranty or 50 or whatever it is. It's a bullshit warranty. That's the warranties that I absolutely hate. But there's no labor warranty involved. I didn't know that. I figured tile had something, but we don't mess with tile, so I wouldn't know. But regardless, yeah, I think you got to have a nice piece of documentation, a one-pager that's very cut and dry. Have an attorney write it, but have an attorney write it that you can read it. So it's very generic, like it's very understandable of what this warranty entails, what it doesn't entail. And I think you put that, I know, Jack, you're a ProLine user, put that right into your ProLine template at the bottom. And that is, here's the warranty. Or don't even put it in the bottom. Maybe build that into your quote template as in your option page. That's how ours are. It describes what's in that warranty in each option. So your question is your competition doing the same thing, and it's bullshit, your word versus his word. Well, is his in writing? Is it real? Is it a company that's been around for many years that can stand behind it? Those are the things you got to bring up at the point of sale. That is the value you can't have. You can have value in that. We were talking about that earlier. You can have value by saying, hey, look, yeah, I've got a 10-year warranty through my company that I'm offering you with this metal or tile installation. Yeah, he's offering you the same thing. Is he putting it in writing for you? Has he been in business for more than 2 years? Like, here's some things here's a real warranty. I'm giving you this. This business has been around for, dozen years or so. And we're not going anywhere anytime soon. That's why this one counts and his doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that response. And I just kind of, my wheels turning too. It's like, it's not logical, but it's incredible how something as simple as just a well laid out in writing, well designed page in your quote that just lays everything out. It's crazy how much that will go to build trust. I think either you can, so in ProLine quotes, you can actually just upload an entire design page. You don't have to just type it inside of ProLine. You can go to Fiverr and have a graphic designer do it. You can hire one of our third-party, one of our certified partners that they will do these custom design pages for your quotes. And you can have them just design a normal letter size paper, and you give them everything that goes into your warranty, and have them build this like really nice looking designed page that's like, your special 10-year warranty, and here's everything that you get with the warranty. And like you're saying, I think it goes beyond just having it in writing. If you can present it in a way that feels solid, feels like you put effort behind it, that's just going to stand up more than the other guy just at the sales meeting saying, oh yeah, we do 10-year warranties. So I think that that might be, because it's all about like the GAF Master Elite. At the end of the day, that's just building trust in the warranty, right? And so obviously you don't have that advantage if you're you can't go to the manufacturer, but there is other ways to still build that trust in the warranty, even if they're not quite as solid.
One thing to just add on to that too is anything you're doing, I think, is we're in the residential roofing business. If you're doing commercial, I'm not talking to you, okay? But in the residential roofing business, any kind of contract, any kind of warranty, this needs to be one page or less, and it needs to be 100% understandable by any Joe Schmo. You can't put something together that it takes an attorney to read and navigate and think you're actually going to sell that to a customer. That it just doesn't work that way. Our contract, our entire contract, we'll do $1 million project, and it's off a 3/4 page contract. That it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the price is. There is nothing to matter. It's not even a full page. And I can read it and understand. I could give it to you. You could read it and you can understand it. And that's why people trust us when we give them a quote, because our contract's super simple. The warranty information is super simple. We hand it to them as they pay their bill. Like there is no hidden anything. It's just very, here you go. Yep. That's what we do. You know, have a lot of success with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. All right. So for those that are just joining, please jump in with your questions. There's a Q&A button at the bottom of Zoom. You can type any question for us and we'll tackle it. Otherwise, we're just going through our other questions. And so we've been talking about warranties. We're going to switch gears and talk on another topic unless we see another question pop up. All right. So next question I have lined up is what metrics should I be tracking to gauge the effectiveness of my advertising campaigns? And this is timely because I'm about to make some changes and improvements to our reporting. So I'm curious for everyone, please put, if you have thoughts, you're using ProLine, if there's things that you're looking for as far as tracking goes, put those in the chat because I'm about to do some work on the reporting and tracking. But to Scott and Jonah, what metrics should a roofing contractor be tracking to gauge the effectiveness of an advertising campaign?
Well, you and I have talked about this quite a bit, because I'm a big data guy, but from the top of the funnel, impressions are huge. Not necessarily from a CRM level, but through your marketing channels. So Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, whatever channel that you're running, impressions is huge. But the most valuable and the one that really allows you to track revenue generated is the closed one by channel or closed one by source. And there's ways around that currently in ProLine to have a little bit more clarity on how that looks. But that's the biggest thing for Scott and I. Like, we want to make sure, say we spent $15,000 this month on advertisements on Google. How many of these received a quote, and how many of those quotes converted into a lead, and what was that revenue that was generated from there?
Yeah,
I mean, there's tons of other metrics I look into. Obviously, organic traffic, how that's converting as well. But from a paid source, like, you got to pay to play. You want to definitely look at, is the money that you're spending generating real revenue?
what define impressions? Just, not everyone has done paid advertising, so define impressions.
So there's two types of impressions. You've got your unique impression, which is a unique one-off individual. Then you have your total impressions. So an impression is whether or not somebody's seen your advertisement or your I guess, yeah, ad on Facebook or Google. So when somebody types in roofer near me, if your ad showed up on that page, then that counts as an impression. Or if you're scrolling through Facebook and that ad popped up, that's an impression. Your unique impression is an individual seeing that specific post, which Facebook calls that reach.
What's the why would you say that's an important metric to be paying attention to when you're running advertising campaigns? And I'm playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, I'm
like, yeah, because the devil's advocate here is like, well, it only matters how many we sold. And so, like, that would be like the devil's advocate position is like, if we did that's the only thing that matters is how many we sold. But why is it also important to be paying attention to the impressions?
I don't know who said it, but it's pretty much a general rule of thumb is it takes 7 to 9 interactions with the brand before a consumer takes a mental note of it or it becomes recognizable. So measuring those impressions shows that your brand is getting in front of the right people. Obviously, if you set up your campaigns to be the correct demographics, whether it's geographical or special interest, you know that your ad's getting viewed by the right people. Like Scott's running billboards right now in his markets. Great, tons of activity, tons of views. People drive by it every day, but it's kind of a loose cannon because we don't know how much revenue that's returning, but we know that it's getting viewed. On something digital, you can track those views and say, hey, I spent $10,000 on this campaign. I've been in front of this many people. So I mean, it boils down to brand awareness. You're getting put in front of the right people, whether or not they need it at the time. You're getting um, that visibility, and you're able to measure that visibility. So you are getting some sort of value there.
Yeah.
Although it's not directly parallel with leads, it at some point it could turn into a lead.
I feel like you and I have talked about this too, Scott, talking about brand awareness and the value of brand awareness. What, again, I'll play devil's advocate here. You know, if it's not generating leads for me and those leads aren't turning into sales, then it's not worth doing. But from that standpoint, what would be your response to that? And I guess another way to think about it is just like, you know, what is the formula here to where just building brand awareness makes sense, even if you're not immediately getting sales from it?
So the way I look at brand awareness is I do a lot of campaigns that are brand awareness. And James is talking about using separate numbers on billboards so you can track them. And that makes sense. I understand that whole process. I don't really care. I'm not doing it for a lead. So I really don't give a shit. I'm not going to, and James, I'm with you. I get it. And I think it's a great thing if you're willing to put the effort into that. I'm not. My goal with the billboards is not to generate a single lead. It's like I'm going to do, I do radio. I've done a lot of radio over the years. My goal with it is not to generate a lead. Now, will it? Absolutely. I know it will. Like, there's no doubt it does. But my goal is to get them searching when they go to search on Google, and I'm in that top 3 organically, or I'm in LSA or whatever. I'm in that mix of names on the front page of Google. They're like, oh shit, I've been hearing about them guys left and right. That's all I want. I just want to make sure I'm the first one clicked when they do go search for my service. They're going to click me first if I've just been pumping shit in front of them constantly. Is that a trackable way to advertise? No, not at all. Does it work for me? Yeah, I've had a lot of success with it. So I'm not saying for a guy like Jonah, who's very analytical in his marketing effort, drives him nuts. But for me, I'm willing to put my money where my mouth's at and just say, hey, I'm going to take 10, 15 grand a month and I'm going to shove it myself in front of as many people in as many different formats as possible. And when they go to search for a roofer, and I do show up because of Jonah's work in the digital side, I do show up somewhere, somehow. They're going to see that name, and it's just absolutely going, light bulbs going off. I've been hearing about them guys every day. You know, let's just try them out. You know, so that's my goal with it. My goal is not to track any, because I mean, let's just be realistic. How many people actually see a billboard and get the phone number off of it? Most of them on the goddamn highway anyway when you're doing 80 mile an hour. How many people like dialing your number as quick as they can while the radio ad's playing? We had a vanity number for quite a while. It was 844 Pro Roof. I think I actually still have it. I just don't advertise it anymore because I just want to get rid of it because it's just kind of, and again, it's another pain in the ass. Nobody used it. So yeah, I was getting like 2 calls a month off of this thing, and it's like, I know that radio ad's generating more than 2 leads a month. Why even fuck with it? It's just not even worth it. So they're hearing you. That's what matters. You're there. You're in front of them. That's what matters.
Yeah, and then they're gonna look you up online. So it's the key is
even if they don't look you up online, they look up your service online, and you're there. Whether it's a Google paid ad, an LSA ad, or organic, you're there. It's the light bulb goes off. They recognize you immediately.
Then you hit them again with retargeting when they click on your site.
There you go. That's when his stuff starts working. I just keep pumping money into brand awareness. In roofing is a weird one too, right? Who gives a shit about roofing until you need a roofer I think the average is 2 times in your life. So nobody really cares. But if you can be the person that when somebody thinks of roofing, one of the ones I think of every time I think of like roofing companies, I think of Able Roofing because they've got this really cool jingle. 144
444
or
roof.
something. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, like it's. I mean, I still hear it in my head, and I haven't heard it for a long time. But they do a really good job branding themselves. So, like, I'm a roofer, and I remember those guys pretty well, and I've never seen them. They're in Columbus.
I knew that before I got into roofing.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, if you're really good at branding, then that's how it works.
Like it.
One thing to note, and Scott mentioned this a little bit or kind of touched on it, like his entire budget isn't all brand awareness. Like you can't rely on that explicitly to generate leads. I mean, he's canvassing, he's running traffic campaigns, he's running lead form campaigns, like he's doing other stuff here too to generate traffic. But brand awareness is just putting your brand in front of people at a higher volume than that you can do organically.
Yep.
That makes sense. Makes sense. I'm curious for both of your answers on this. So, we're tracking the impressions and then tracking the number of jobs sold per lead source. In between there, do you think it's important to be tracking things like how many people from each lead source are booking appointments, how many are getting quotes, like that process, breaking that down? Is there other pieces of that puzzle that you want to track, or is it really just how many of them made it to a sale?
No, we checked it all. We've like, I don't want to say we've checked it all, but with Facebook, we were having some real doubts because we weren't really seeing anything that actually made it to a sale. So we sat down and we literally, Jonah and I sat down, took every lead that Facebook had given us. We took our CRM, took ProLine, dug up all these leads, and we saw where they made it in the process. So why we were so unsatisfied with Facebook was the fact that almost none of them made it to a quote. If a large percentage would have made it to a quote, scheduled an appointment and made it to a quote, totally different story. Because now we feel pretty confident that, yeah, there's a lot of not signed quotes, but there's a lot of quotes getting wrote to these people, and we're at least getting opportunities, right? They may not come through today, but maybe 2 months from now they come through. I mean, but the problem was we were getting none of them through Facebook in particular that were generating quotes. Now, here's the catch to that though. If we did that for a long period of time and we wrote a shitload of quotes to Facebook customers, but none of them sold, and I'm talking like if you track this, back over the last year, then I'm going to be like, okay, Facebook is even worse than I thought, because now I'm wasting a fuck ton of money and time, right? We're wasting the money on the lead and the time on the quote, and we're selling zero. So, there's you got to look deeper. You're right. What you're asking is yes, you have to dig into that a little bit deeper, and that's when because Facebook was telling us we had what, Jonah, was like 150 leads a month off of Facebook. Yeah, we wrote like 4 quotes off of it. Like, so it's not a lead. That was a lead to Facebook. That's not a lead to me.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. This probably isn't a great time to get too far into the weeds, but after the iOS 14 update and your targeting preferences got changed, I think that was at like the federal level where they basically said you can't target these specific demographics, and the Advantage Plus placements came out on Meta. Now, instead of people living in a specific area, it's people living in the area or traveled through the area and their IP address located to one of those places. So Scott's getting leads outside of his serviceable area. obviously there's a huge influx of spam. So people accidentally submitting, which I still can't wrap my head around this, accidentally submitting their information through an instant form. Because it's a one click, you click the button and then it automatically populates your information. There's a lot of scam leads. And if we didn't look into the conversion rate of those leads, conversion meaning moving from quote sent to closed won, we wouldn't have known that those leads were all bogus. And it, sorry, my dog about took the golf clubs down. The leads, if they're not converting and they're not closing, then it just ends up being a waste of money. And I think that's what's happening to Meta now. People are moving away from these digital channels consuming data, or buying from these things because that platform's kind of fatigued. There's every Joe Schmo who starts a roofing company is running 6 ads when there's a hailstorm or a windstorm. And that's why I made the decision to shift budget higher to Google and lower on Facebook, just because we had higher quality leads with more intention.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. Building on that, one last question in that vein. Do you think it's important to track the number of scheduled appointments and the number of quotes sent separately, or is that essentially the same thing?
Same thing. For us, it's the same thing. Now, every business is different, right? For us, if we go to an appointment, 90, and I'm spitballing, but I'm going to tell you between 95 and up percent, 95 to 100%, we're ready to quote.
Yeah.
If it's not, it's because something got missed during the phone call. But we're really, really good about screening our calls, and we do not book appointments for shit we don't want to bid. So we're really good about that. Our office staff's trained really well on that, and so that's just not something that happens us. Plus, we rate quotes on the spot. Like when we go to the job, we literally give them a quote while we're there, so they're getting a quote.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I fully agree with that. So Scott does things very lean and mean. All the staff is very well trained and they ask those important questions. But I think that's a good point to bring up is like, just because you got a lead online, if you're not following up with these people and asking them these pre-qualifying questions, here's a huge one. Do you own your home? That's a huge differentiator. A lot of people, maybe they're in an apartment or maybe they're renting or something like that. Like they're not qualified to make that decision, and it immediately disqualifies them as a lead. If you're not making those calls, like you're wasting your sales reps' time, you're wasting your customer service reps' time, and obviously that break comes down to this is costing you money, more money than you paid for the lead itself.
Yeah. I'm making a quick poll because I'm curious with everyone here. I'm gonna do a quick little poll about tracking appointments and quotes provided. It's something that we had someone recently that was evaluating ProLine get really hung up on the fact that we weren't by default in ProLine allowing to track those two things as separate. My viewpoint is the same as yours, Scott, but I'm curious for everyone that's here with us today, their opinion. So I'm going to run a little poll here on it here in a second. Because yeah, in my opinion, it'd be the same thing, and that's the way we track it in ProLine. Is it goes to the status of open when you send a quote. But I'm trying to wrap my head around is there something else that I'm missing? So I'm gonna write that while you're answering this other question, but we'll kind of end on a fun little, well, not a fun little question, but we'll jump over to the production side rather than the sales and marketing side. So when installing underlayment, should I be using staples or coil nails?
So we either use staples or button cap nails. Now I used to shoot coil nails a lot when I was actually putting roofs on myself. But, you know, I don't know. I liked coil nails because it was fast, right? And this was back long before we offered warranties or anything like that. It was me and a couple guys nailing shingles on, whatever. But yeah, I mean that was what we used to do. Now it's either button caps or staples for us. Primarily button caps, but we have one crew in particular that prefers staples, so we always provide them with staples. The big one too is here's the differentiator: pitch. If it's steep, they're putting button caps on it. If it's flat or low slope, like 4 on 12, 5 on 12, you don't need a button cap to hold that felt in place. But I know for myself, if it's a 8, 9 on 12 and I'm gonna walk it, like we used to walk those steeper roofs, I want a button cap on that thing to hold that from moving.
Got it. So it really has to do with it really has to do with the pitch.
I mean, to me, that's that. Not saying that's manufacturer backed recommendation. I'm just talking about as an installer point of view. I'm definitely not climbing up a felted roof that is a steeper pitch without a button cap in it. The other thing too is it going to be on overnight? Is it going to be on? Are you shingling it the same day? Like, you know what I mean? There's a few things to consider with that.
Yeah. Makes sense. James says neither, button caps only. Maybe this is on me. So is there? I think I'm thinking when I say coil nails, I mean button caps. Is those different things?
Well, not
I'm gonna
necessarily.
embarrass
They
myself
can be
here.
the same because you can buy coils of button caps for
Oh,
like
okay.
a Stinger type gun. But no, most of these are hand drive. They're hand drive button caps, got the plastic head on them. Yeah. Coil nails are what you're shooting in shingles.
Oh, right. Yeah,
if you're a roofer, that's the term.
The button caps is what I meant.
Yes.
I was extrapolating off of a different question. So yeah, the button caps. So yeah, James says James, it seems like you only do button caps. That's what John does too. John only does the button caps, is what he's told me. But
yeah, I mean, it's the best. It's the best. We've got one crew in particular that likes to staple it. I have never found any literature in any GAF. James is saying some underlay say no staples. I've never seen anything in any GAF product, and I could be wrong. So don't fucking crucify me here. I'm just saying I've never seen anything in a GAF product that said you cannot staple. So that's never been an issue for us. And the one crew we got likes doing it. I don't give a shit if they like doing it. Works for me.
Yeah.
I don't have a take on this.
No opinion, Jonah.
No opinion. Wish I knew.
All right, so we'll wrap it up here in a second. If you haven't yet, please do answer that poll that I put out. And
click.
It won't let you click on it.
You're a panelist. You can't vote.
Oh, hosts and panelists can't vote. Well, shit, I didn't read that.
It is in red. I tried to.
I think because we're panelists, we're not allowed to. But yeah, James' opinion is that you can't it can't be waterproof if you use a staple. So he's all in on the button caps.
Here's my argument for you. You're putting 10,000 nail holes in that fucking felt with coil nails. I mean, like, you can get so in the weeds on stuff like that. And I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I think to me, there's a lot of things on a roof system that I'm concerned get done properly. I don't have a problem, and I don't see where a staple is going to cause a lesser quality roof install on the felt. I feel like you're putting so many penetrations through that felt no matter what, that I don't see where it's going to affect the performance of it. Felt isn't self-healing like an ice guard or something. So, I mean, the nails that you're shooting through your shingles are potential leak penetrations that aren't, I mean, I can't imagine those are a waterproofed fastener either. So that's just my opinion. I don't know that it's right or wrong. I'm just, like I said, the one crew we got likes using them. They're the best crew we've got. They're so freaking good. And that's the way they like to install. So we're happy to oblige since it doesn't go against anything we've been taught.
Yeah. Makes sense. The poll, everyone seems to think that both should be tracked separately. Does someone have an explanation for why this is from like a marketing reporting perspective. Does anyone want to talk through why they think they should be separate? Because if you raise your hand, I'll tag you in, and so you can tell us why that is. There's a like a raise hand button at the bottom of Zoom that you can click on. Just raise your hand if you want to, if you feel like walking through why you think that appointments and quotes should be tracked separately. Hey Jack, what's your thoughts here?
For where we are, I think the benefit for us is being able to track the lead quality, which was raised in the earlier discussion. So if we go to an appointment and come back and don't write a quote, it's probably because we didn't properly qualify. And so where we are in our overall evolution is we've got a lot of room to improve on the front end of our funnel. And so I think that's one extra layer of analysis and data that helps us get better on the front end. Maybe in a year, 2 years, 5 years, we won't have that or need it.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So like it would allow you to look at that ratio of how many schedules to how many quotes were sent and be able to determine oh, like we're doing a good job qualifying or we're doing a bad job qualifying. And you can set a KPI. Like we want to have 95% of appointments result in a quote or something like that. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Cool. That's good to know. I had been thinking about adding another. So the statuses in ProLine, the project statuses, those are hard coded in. Those are not customizable. We use those for reporting. And so I had thought about adding maybe a status for like appointment or something like that. Right now it goes lead and then open. Open is the status it goes to once a quote has been sent. So there's an open quote out there for it. And so maybe having something between there to track
Well,
that.
couldn't you look at lead versus quote sent?
That's well,
But your leads are considered as if they come into the funnel at all, not necessarily an appointment scheduled.
correct. Yeah, lead is lead is the default. So everything comes in as a lead unless it's being added to a stage that's for a different status. Statuses are tied to each stage. So that's a good thing that we don't do enough talking about, honestly, is like if you've added a lot of custom stages to your ProLine account, make sure that you've customized out what status is connected to each stage. But yeah, maybe so basically most ProLine accounts have a lead stage and then an appointment scheduled stage, and then like a creating quote or quote sent stage. And so I think the idea would be to you have lead on the first one, but then as you move into appointment scheduled, or maybe even creating quote, it would change status if it moved into either of those, change status to something in between lead and open to signify that there's been like it's not just a lead anymore. There's been an appointment that was scheduled, or at least a measurement report that was ordered or something. It's being evaluated. I think that could be done without really disrupting too much.
I think that makes sense too, because I will say a few years ago, before we were really good at saying no, that's kind of one of my big things. And, kind of anybody that's got questions, I always, one of the biggest things we did for success was just start telling people no. Before we got good at that, we were going to a lot of appointments we didn't write quotes for.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this has been a while ago. We weren't nearly as niche of a business as we are today, and we were doing things a lot differently. But there was a lot of times Josh would be going to 4 or 5 appointments a day, and he may only write 2 quotes. So, but just like Jack said, in the evolution of your business, hopefully that just gets better and better. And then eventually you just don't, you quit caring because you know, the once a month that your sales guy calls you, I went to that goddamn job and didn't get to write a quote. Okay, well, it's once a month, dude. Get over it. So that's not worth tracking.
Yeah. That makes sense. Makes sense. I had an idea. So maybe that status, maybe you have lead is the first status, and then we already have open. Open is once the quote is sent. What if in between, because I hate having to abbreviate appointment to make it a status. What if the status in between was measure? Because that's what you're doing fundamentally. Like, you may not even go to the appointment sometimes. Sometimes you just get an online measurement in some cases. Maybe it's someone out of town or something like that. But I feel like that's pretty universal. Is like, before you can quote it, you got to measure it. And so tracking how many did you measure and how many did you, I don't know. I'm just spitting.
No,
that's not
no,
the name.
because the problem is what Jack is talking about, I think, is it's really not a lead at all for the service he's providing. That's what we ran into. Jack, I could be wrong, but I think what you're getting at is your receptionist scheduled your sales guy an appointment, and he shows up there and it's something you just don't even offer. Like, you're not going to even measure it because it's not something that you're willing to do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So to clarify, I think we have some of that. The other problem we have is that we go to appointments, site visits, and then we don't write quotes because we forget, we don't track them, we don't follow up. So there's a second reason, and then the third case for this, I think, in our market, we just get overwhelmed by realtor requests, and so I guess those cut both ways because we do get a lot of quality referrals from realtors, but we waste a lot of time pricing roof jobs on deals that never transact. And so I think that's where tools like Roofle come into play. We're trying to, offload some of that work. But those are, I think, three reasons why for us at this stage, the appointment scheduled stage is useful.
Yeah.
And versus quote sent.
Yeah.
Hey, Jack, I'm gonna give you 2 tips on that because you're battling the same shit I was battling like 2-3 years ago. So do not let anybody move. What we did for a long time, one person got to move contacts inside of our CRM, and every morning, that was the one person's job. They had to get with each of the sales guys and say, "Has this job been quoted?" No, it hasn't. Okay, you need to get it quoted because I can't move it anywhere after appointment, scheduled until you send this quote. So we eliminated a lot of those I forgot to send them a quote type shit, which is crazy to me. But you're right, it happens a lot. So we made someone accountable to address that every day. Like, I forgot to send them the invoice. You can't forget to send them the invoice because they sit in job completed until someone sends them a fucking invoice, So like, make someone accountable for that. The other thing I was going to tell you is you're talking about realtors. So make a separate pipeline in ProLine, a whole nother pipeline just for realtor leads. And then you can create, what I would do is I would take some time to create some custom messaging just kind of towards that, maybe directing them to Roof or however you would, I don't know how your process is with these leads, but it sounds to me like they're really indifferent to a regular phone call lead from a homeowner. I would kind of redirect my messaging strictly for that process in a whole nother pipeline.
Thanks.
Cool. All right. Another roofer to roofer for the books. We got started a little bit of a rough start, but we got it figured out. So thanks everybody for coming through, and we will see everybody next week.